Good evening. This is it. This is the time. This is the place. We're about to get started. Let's do that. Okay. Boop. Good evening to all wanna-be watching. How are we all doing tonight, this Wednesday, October 16th? Well, I can say that today has been productive. Got a bit of work done, you can see right here. Starting to work on episode 5. Got a good portion of some of the audio's done. There's in episode 5 there's multiple scenes, so multiple audios to work through. But tonight is not a night of work. It is a night in which to see the fruits of some labor, which is episode 4 in season 2. And the title of episode 4 is Jandar, so we get to see a bit of Jandar and what he's about, and maybe some information on the Valkyrie generals and what's going on with them in this universe. So gonna get started with that in a little bit. I did start a little bit early, so just gonna give it until like 9 o'clock until we actually do get started in the watching of the episode. And this episode, its runtime is about about 14 minutes long. And fair warning, this is probably the most boring episode out of both seasons 2 and 3. And when I mean boring, I mean there's a lot of dialogue. But it's the only episode that has this much dialogue. As far as like talking about the plot, this is basically the Rivendell moment. But let's see here. Let's see here. I know I have a cast list this time, so I'm going to read off the cast for this episode. All the wonderful people who helped doing the voiceovers. I'm going to read them out. So, for episode 4, season 2 of Tales of Valhalla, in the cast tonight we have Mr. James Henderson. This is the Airborne Elite first. The Airborne Elite Squad. James Henderson, Corey Wong, Lieutenant Daniel Taylor, Mr. Joseph Ranieri, Charlie Tooth, aka Toothpick, Mr. Tyler Fine, Harold Gimp, the one and only Dean Klaus, the Prime Air Elemental, voiced by Aidan Wolfson, Kelda the Kyrie Warrior, voiced by Rachel Avron, Raylan the Kyrie Warrior, voiced by Nicole Avron, Tulbach Ra, voiced by Jerry Anderson, Kimoshi, voiced by Michael Ortiz, Niguksa, voiced by Jason Rutherford, and Jandar is being voiced by yours truly. Only because we actually had a voice actor who played Jandar for a minute in season 1. At the very end of season 1, end credit scene, you have someone else playing the role of Jandar. Unfortunately, wasn't able to bring him back for seasons 2 and 3, and I waited until basically the last minute to do the voiceovers for Jandar because I didn't want to do it. I was trying to find somebody else, but unfortunately for filmmaking, if it is to be, it's up to me, and I was all there was, so I had to do it, and hopefully I do the role justice. We'll see. But yes, those are the wonderful people that are voicing the characters for this episode. Big hand to all you guys. Thank you so much for all the work you put into voicing these roles. And I hope I edited well everything that needed to be done for this particular episode and scene. Let's see here, and I got no one really begging like, when's it gonna start? I don't think I Hunt Monsters is on right now. course, I am starting a little early, but like I said, I'm just going to give it a little bit of time. Because I literally just have to press play on the thing, and then we can get started. But I was also checking out the strength of this live stream. The past few Wednesdays hasn't been very promising, and this was kind of funky starting out, so just making sure that we are good for that, and then we will get started. Yeah, I actually finished this episode this Sunday, so finished it in plenty of time. And so that's why I'm starting to work. I was actually catching up on a couple other video projects and starting up episode 5. I am hopefully wanting to get episode 5 out. Let's see here. The goal is October 31st, so basically last day of October I hope to have it out. So hopefully they'll premiere the event on October 30th, that Wednesday. We'll see. I don't know. 2 weeks is a huge goal, because I know my original plan... Excuse me a second. My original plan was to like have episodes edited like every 2 weeks, but it's becoming an average of an episode every month, which is, for me, not fast enough to have everything out by the end of this year. So, I don't know, I mean, still, fingers crossed that I can get everything done, and I'm working my hardest too, but we'll see. I'm definitely working my darndest the next 2 weeks, and even if I'd say if we're like 80 to 90% complete with the episode by October 30th, I'm just going to premiere that and then just do touch-ups like the week after, and then release it the week after. Just so something's out, and then we'll be halfway done with season 2, but not halfway done with those seasons. It's amazing. It's like still. So after this episode, there'll be 15 more episodes to edit and finish. Actually, animate, edit, and finish, because season 3 isn't all animated yet either. Hence, everything behind me back there that I need to start animating really soon. Let's see here. Okay, my phone is notifying me for notifications. So, like I said, we will get this started for the one person watching. We're going to get this episode started 9:05. Oh, the one person watching is one of the voice actors, Acrobatics, Mr. Jason Rutherford, who is voicing... Did I say he was voicing somebody? No, he's voicing Niguk-Sa. He voices Niguk-Sa. And Niguk-Sa is seen in this episode, but isn't speaking. Here, hold on a second. Wait, when I read the cast... Yeah, Niguk-Sa, Jason Rutherford. So yeah, you're on the cast list in here, Jason. But I'm not sure if your character even says anything. Oh well, I'll just leave it there as that. You are the Niguk-Sa for sure. And whoever else is joining, we are going to start the episode in 2 minutes. Oh yeah, and my celebratory beverage for tonight is beer. Non-alcoholic. It's actually called ginger beer, and this stuff is strong. Yeah. Whew. Yeah, just like it's like eating just raw ginger in your mouth. It's that strong. It keeps you awake. Phew, that's why I have a second, like just a little bit sweeter beverage to wash it down, so I can talk later. So, okay, so we got a minute. So we know how the rules go here for these premiere live streams. We're going to show the episode once without any commentary talking at all, and then second time around it is with commentary. Jason, since you are part of the cast, feel free to, for comments during this episode, and we'll we'll talk about them during the commentary as well if you want to, since you are part of the cast. But anybody else, any comments as well, we'll talk about it during the commentary part. And I will stop talking and get this ready to go. Okay, so all I gotta do is hit that, and we should be good to go. For sure, yeah, and I'm sure you heard Jason. Like I said, this is, in a sense, one of the most boring episodes out of all 20 for seasons 2 and 3. So we'll see how it goes, and see how. I mean, it took literally a couple weeks just to edit all the voiceover audio because there's just that much dialogue in it. All right, so we will get started. We're on the 9:05 mark, and I am going to turn off desktop audio and turn off the mic, and we will get this going. So see you guys in about 14 minutes.
What have you discovered?
Woo! That is it. And apparently, I hope everybody was able to watch that okay, because I noticed the live stream cut off once or twice during that. Love Twitch. But thank goodness I'm recording this also just straight into my computer. I'm not trusting Twitch with it. So that is it. That is the episode. You see Kimoshi there at the end. Some good frightening things happening with her in the next episode a little bit, and then definitely in season 3 with that character. I'm glad Mr. Michael Ortiz voicing the powerful Morrow Witch Kimoshi. Thank him so much. Had to travel. See, video froze on my end, but I could still hear the audio. It is working now. Okay. Yeah, at least the audio is good. Jason, like for what video you could see, I know inside the cave it was kind of dark. Were you able to see okay? For the cave scene, for what video you could see? Because I know when I animated, and I did this for all the Jandar cave scenes, the lighting wasn't exactly. It was dark, but I could tell the figures apart. Okay, good. Yeah, the lighting, I didn't get it exactly to how I wanted it to be. Hold on a second. Excuse me. And I found that out after I had animated so much, and I'm like, I am not doing this over again. And so I just lightened it up as best as I could while animating it, and just, that's the best we can do. But I am not, that's like 10, 11 pages of dialogue and script. I'm not animating all that again with different lighting. Sorry. Nope. But I think it still turned out pretty good. A little fight scene between Raylan and Tobak-Ra, and Tobak-Ra just teleports out. Love that teleporting effect a lot. Really simple too to use, and you'll see Tobak-Ra using that effect a lot in season 2 and 3. So can't wait to use more of that. But yeah, Twitch stream, whatever. Now that's 14 minutes episode, so we're gonna start with that episode again, and this time gonna leave open for commentary. Gonna cut the audio down in half of the episode so we can just talk through it. But before I start in the next minute, Jason, any thoughts for anybody watching? Any thoughts on the episode? Anything coming out, like story-wise and stuff? How the story's developing? I mean, Jason, I mean, you've already read the script, kinda. I mean, well, I tell all the voice actors to read the script, but I don't think hardly anybody reads through the whole thing. So that's basically me. But yeah, how the story's developing, it's just interesting, and we find out now what the quest, like in the trailer, the character of Jandar saying, you know, this is a quest, and now we know what the quest is going to be. Yeah, and Jason says, not too much. I don't know what I can say without revealing the upcoming story. Yeah, well, just, basically, I mean, it's not like many people are going to be watching this, so spoiler away, it doesn't really matter too much. But I mean, just that, you know, they're going to be going after the primes now. I mean, they already have the air elemental. Now they got to get the other 3 elementals before Kurok and others try to acquire them. And they are all over the map in Valhalla. So lots of traveling is going to be done. Going to be seeing a lot of places. A lot of terrains, and everywhere from swamp, desert, ice, and in between. So, actually, it's basically all just swamp, desert, and ice mostly. But yeah. So let us roll through that again, and this time provide the commentary for it. Okay. So just gonna start it, and gonna bring the audio down to half. Hopefully this audio coming on can, so I can hear a little bit of it while it's going.
Thanks, Raylan.
And so yeah, we basically just start here now. I have I have a dual monitor system in my computer, and I can my one is a new one, and then I have an old Dell monitor to where it shows the screen actually things a little bit darker than what they should be. So right now when I'm viewing this episode, I really can't see the figures, I can't see much of anything. So anybody who watches this on like an older type screen, try and brighten your screen up, or find a screen that will be able to brighten, because these I have like an old Dell monitor that's like maybe 10 years old, 20 years old, something like that. It's well, maybe no, not 20 years old, but definitely 10 years old. And it darkens everything. So when I edit Tales of, I mean, I really got to replace the monitor sometime. But I edit everything on my newer monitor that I got last year, and that keeps everything bright. But when I'm viewing the live stream, I view it via the older monitor, so I can't really see anything. Anyway, talking through this episode, let me see here. Where are we at?
The Prime Air Elemental. Please show yourself, Prime. Don't be shy.
Okay, Jandar's introducing himself. And notice when I talk about, like, I use introducing the air elemental. Air elementals appearing in the space that Toothpick is. And I love how the dialogue matches together in this, though. And thus everything seems to mix fairly well with the music and the sound effects and stuff.
And now, bring out the intro for the show.
And how the character of Jandar, you know, says both ways to say his name. I mean, Yandar is how the Heroescape, you know, the hardcore Heroescape people call him. Everyone else says Jandar just because that's it. So I use both. Just different characters say the name in different ways, like the more American guys. Yeah, Jason says those old Dell monitors don't die. Mine is like 12 years old. Yeah, it's really, I got it for free. That's the only reason why I have it. when I got my
Invisible?
To be honest,
custom built
I really
PC.
do not know.
The
All I
guy who built it
know
just threw in the monitor and a
is on
keyboard,
that day,
so that's what I've been using
so
since.
many years
Um,
ago, when the water
but okay, let
in
me
the
see. Let me
wellsprings dried up
roll
and
this back up and see where we're at
disappeared,
here.
So did my body and my power.
You are a ghost?
No, I did not die.
Okay, so Jandar's
I was
given a little
rendered
backstory on
completely
how
powerless.
he is, and that's one very
All
important
I
thing to
have
talk
left
about
of me
is the
is
Valkyrie
my
generals.
consciousness,
And so now we can reveal
and
that with the
small
Valkyrie
amount
generals,
of my gift of
um,
foresight.
Did this happen to you?
at
Could it
the
have
time
happened to the other
when
Valkyrie
the game
generals?
got
Yes,
discontinued
Soldier Henderson.
in their realm
That
at
is my
that
guess.
time,
And
the
without
wellsprings,
generals,
of course,
all
we already know the
factions
wellsprings
would be leaderless.
dried up.
It would
We've
explain
heard that in
why
Season 1, and we've
factions
seen at the very beginning of
their
Season
characters.
2 an example of that.
Some are
When those
probably
wellsprings
trying
dried
to
up,
search for their
all the Valkyrie
general
generals lost their power.
and have not
Not only
found
did they
yet.
lose their power, they
Heck,
became
it took me
bodiless,
3 years to find
just
Yandar.
entities taking up
And
space. And
unfortunately,
where
even
Jandar
if
is in this
Valkyrie
cave, he
generals
can't
would
go
escape,
anywhere. He is literally
they would most
just
likely
there, and his
be like
presence is
me,
there in that cave.
powerless,
He can't
unable to take
move. He
control of
can't.
their
He
faction
can't do anything other than
unless
just
their
speak to
voice
people
would be
and
enough
and
influence.
sense
And
people's
some
presence
factions like ours,
and
that will
maybe
work.
foresee
But a faction
things a
like
little bit
ours
in
would
which
be
to
a mess.
be a guide
There are few
to
who would
the
stay
characters
with
within
choice.
the show,
Maybe his
and
loyal
that's
Kyrie
his state right
would,
now,
but others under
and
Utgar's
that's
banner
pretty much
find
going
a
to be
way
the
to
state
gain
of the other Valkyrie
advantage.
generals as well. We might see one or two by the end of Season 3. Um,
Strong.
But that's basically the state of the Valkyrie generals. They're powerless. They're all in different locations in Valhalla, and their own factions, if they want to, have to go find them in order to, see to get advice and learning from them if they so desire. I mean, when it comes to Utgar, like I said, Utgar, good luck. But it creates an interesting dynamic within this universe that pretty much all these factions and these characters that have been that have traveled across time and space to Valhalla, they can't go home. There's no power to bring them back home. They're still stuck here on this planet. So that is basically what Tales of Valhalla is all about, and how these characters deal with this.
Myself and my friend are sticking together.
But please, call me Aaron.
Why, of course. Why
And now
did
when
you
it
call
comes
me
to
at
the
beginning?
elementals, because now
You
they're
are
talking
too
about
soft-spoken,
the
my
elementals
friend
a
here.
little bit, and the particularly air elemental and the others.
Prime elementals out there.
But I thought this prime
They're
was
very
unique.
important because they
One
could
of a
give
Very true.
a type of
There are
power
4 different
that could
kinds
either
of
equal to or
elementals.
surpass
We have air,
a Valkyrie
but
general.
there is
Um,
also fire,
So
water,
this quest is very, very important because it could really offset the balance of what the world is at, what this particular world is at right now. So
each element.
very,
That means Crow will be going after the other
very,
powers.
very
I
in-depth
was about to
approach,
say
and I'm
that.
choking on
Interrupt me again, Henderson,
I'm choking on
and
ginger
it's
right now.
guard
Let me
duty
drink
for a
more
whole
ginger
month.
to see
That is why Karak was so confident
if it'll
when he
clear my
left
throat.
us.
Probably not.
He
Nope, it
now
didn't.
knows the prime air elemental is in Private Tooth.
Anyway, so and while
He can
this
hunt after the
while
other
this whole
prime,
conversation is going on,
knowing
of course,
he can come
Tobak
back
Ra
anytime
has
to put them down.
And if that is the case,
has teleported
we
in
must
there to
find
spy on
these
them and
other
basically
prime
hears
elementals
everything.
before Karak does. I am certain
And that'll
that
play
under
a
Karak's
big
control,
part at the end of the season
or
and into
under the
season 3. I mean, the
control
Mara
of
will get
whoever's
involved
pulling
in
Karak's
this
strings,
quest.
the
For
prime
certain.
elementals would make them almost invincible. It's troubling.
Jason saying, for
would not
Tabletop
be
Battlefield this year, we
surprised
should make a
if
2020 for
joined
president
all
ad for New
primes
York
together
Saw. Who would be
and
vice
create
president?
power to surpass the strongest Valkyrie at its greatest strength.
If I could get
Tell me, Brian,
Joy
would you be
Ranieri
able
to show up,
find
because
where the other
and
primes
he's the guy who
are?
voices Lieutenant Dan. If I can get Joy Ranieri to
Me
show up
too.
on one of the particular days we're shooting Tabletop Battlefield, maybe he could be the vice president. That would be actually an awesome little thing to do. I mean, it would be the radio show because
I know where this is going.
I wouldn't be able to really animate anything. Well, I probably could, but it would take more time. But yeah, that would be, or just I could just take clips probably from the show and do it that way, maybe. I don't know. I have to think about it. Think about it, because we have shots of Nigaksawa and Lieutenant Dan that we could probably use. So yeah, I'll talk about that with Joey and see if I'll be able to show up on that day, because I know, like, I think he mentioned that he might be going to some type of a con or something that particular weekend, so we'll see.
Even though Raylan is quite correct.
Anyway, but back to the episode. Where are we at? Since I can't really see. Okay. Jandar's giving a moving speech. Alright. So, yeah, just reinstating, these common soldiers, the airborne elite, trying to give these common soldiers a more important role, and that they can have just as much of an influence as any of the other heroes. And that's one of the themes of these series too, is to show what the quote-unquote little guy can do in these situations, how that little bit could make a difference, and how anybody can really make a difference, just a subtle, in all the fantasy and comedy within this show. I tried to be as inspirational as possible.
What do you say, Henderson?
So, at the same time, yes, with comedy, Lieutenant Dan, doing his thing. You notice there are a lot of lines in here that are in the full trailer for Season 2 as well. If you pick up on those. Of course, I've listened to that trailer so many times, so I can pick up on it.
This is not just a mission.
And looks like the live stream cut off again. Fun. Yeah, I just don't like Twitch. That's how it goes. I just don't like Twitch at all. And thank goodness I'm recording this just straight into my computer, so I'm not even going to use the Twitch version of this recording. I'm just going to use this, so when people watch this live stream on YouTube, they can see everything in full. Because that's just not right. It's like, other times live streaming strong, other times I'm not. Anyway, okay, done ranting. Let's continue talking about the episode.
Wait, you mean Johnny Shotgun Sullivan? Yeah, awesome.
And you know what?
Okay, and Johnny Sullivan is mentioned. And we'll see Mr. Johnny Shotgun Sullivan in episode 6, I believe.
My girlfriend's gonna be joining us.
He needs a personality. Become a part of this group that'll end up being on this quest.
I made sure all 5 of you. Oh, sorry.
But yeah, we are just getting started. The quest has just begun, really. And we will start getting to more interesting episode coming up in this basically second half of Season 2 later on this year. So fun times. And I think as far as I think it's the only episode in this season that we actually get to hear Jandar. Jandar will appear, his voice will appear in Season 3. Yeah, I think it's the only time we'll get to hear Jandar, and it's all just questing for the remainder of Season 2. Fun times. And so as everybody leaves, and then Jandar is gonna have Raylan.
My girlfriend, Mr. Raylan. Can she come with us?
To pick.
I am sorry.
Gonna have Raylan on her own journey, her own quest with the Sergeant Drake Alexander. But before he can even talk to Raylan, then Raylan notices, oh, someone's here. And then there's that small fight scene. I try to have at least one little fight scene in every episode, just so there's a little bit of action. So this is more of a scuffle or skirmish, but it's just that little bit of action. I'll probably have it by itself too on the extras video. So if people just want to see the action and not the dialogue,
Yes,
that'll
you're
be there.
right. Probably heard our whole conversation until you sensed it. It will know their mission.
And so, yeah.
Warn Kelda
And so they're
before
going
she
to a
gets
vast
too far
desert,
away.
and that's a big hint. I'm not going to give that spoiler away of where Drake Alexander and Raylan
I
could be
believe
going,
Brock will not
but
know
that's kind of a
anything.
big hint
That
to
was
where we've
Mara,
seen desert
and
scenes
without
before.
Midgard's control,
That's probably where they're going to be
Mara
going,
race will only be
which will be a
serving
lot of fun.
themselves.
And it will
And
now
then
take
at the very end here,
consequences
we
after
get to
that.
see our
But
first look
before
at
you go,
Kimoshi. I
give
tried to
me a
do,
few seconds to explain
I
your
tried to bring in the
journey.
horror music
After you
vibe
warn Kelda
into
and
this,
the
and
airborne
just
elite,
make it as
you
creepy as
and Drake
possible.
Alexander
And
will head
what a
southwest
coincidence that it's
to a
October,
vast
Halloween
desert.
time. Even though Halloween isn't my favoritist holidays, still love the horror aspect of it, and this is the month of horror, so have that with it. So, yep, there it is. All right. And that is basically episode 4 with the commentary. And just a couple last thoughts, and when we will finish this live stream. I don't know. I'm very happy with how it turned out. I thought it was going to be kind of not as good as I thought it was going to be. I'm still not happy with the way I voiced Jandar, but what can you do? I mean, I just don't like the sound of my own voice usually. But I mean, the way that the Mara teleporter Tilbak Ra turns out, and Jason, you saw your character Kimoshi, or not Kimoshi, Niguk saw for like a second at the end there, and and he didn't really say anything. And I'm going to turn back on the music here. Let's turn back on the music. Okay, let's see here. Bring the music back on. Boom. All right. I'm going to turn back on the music here and turn that off. Turn my voice off, so you're not hearing my voice. Echo my voice, just the music. Okay. Yeah, and then Kimoshi, voiced by Mr. Michael Ortiz, who comes all the way from Texas, and didn't get his audio, his voiceovers until earlier this year. He's one of the last voice actors to actually get their stuff done. And because we weren't sure, because at the time I lived in Michigan, he lived down in Texas, didn't really have the money to travel down there, so we were trying to figure out a way to do it. And earlier this year, we drove out to California, so I just made, and it was a road trip, so I just decided to make Texas a pit stop, and able to meet the guy, had a good day with him, got all his voiceovers done. He did an excellent job, and not just voiceovers, but we also did a Kimoshi character introduction, and whenever that gets released, it'll be hilarious, but I still have to animate it. It probably won't be for another year or so before that is even ready, to be edited to come out, but it is in the works for sure. It is one of the videos planning to come out, and it will be tons of fun when we do get it out. What else can I say other than I'm just happy another episode is done. We are nearly halfway done with Season 2. I'm excited for that. And Jason, Mr. Archobotics, in a couple weeks we plan to get together for Tabletop Battlefield. Plenty of things to show, and for people who, especially if you're watching this on YouTube, there'll be a lot of interview things, a lot of behind the scenes, probably Tales of Valhalla things we'll be talking about on that particular episode of Tabletop Battlefield year-end thing that we do every year. But I'll probably have more information on that later on, probably in December when Jason gets it all edited and made. And Jason, I do need to talk to you about what we need to do with all that as well. Anyway, so I guess I will just finish this live stream because we're about an hour into it, and that's as long as I want to go. And I guess went fairly well. Probably lost the video feed for a second, but at least the audio maintained. Hope everybody enjoyed it that watched. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, if you're seeing this full live stream on the Conductor Productions page, thank you. If you're watching on the Tales of Valhalla page, and you're just seeing a portion of the full live stream, probably just the commentary part of this episode, if you want to see the full live stream, go to the link below in the information to our Conductor Productions page, where you can see the full live stream or this full live stream in all its glory. And Jason saying, release guaranteed by December 24th at 7 p.m. Yeah, well, we're getting it done early enough, so I hope so. Merry Christmas. Anyway, don't want to say that just yet. Don't want snow to fall. So, yeah, Jason, we'll talk later in the next week or so about what I want to do when we get together for doing that, or for Tabletop Battlefield. And everyone, thank you all for watching on this Twitch live stream. Thank you, everybody watching on YouTube. And we will see you guys next time. We have another premiere, hopefully in the next 2 weeks, for episode 5. Everybody have a good night, and see you next Wednesday when we start editing episode 5 a little bit. Later. Have a good night.